This is Gary Atensa with CNTV, and today we're in North Carolina. I'm here with Strategic Wealth Strategies. Since 2011, they have created a paradigm shift in people's thinking about conventional financial planning, helping you reduce taxes, eliminate debt, increase spendable income, while protecting your assets and producing tax-free income. I am joined with the owner, Alan Porter. Thanks so much for joining us here today.
Well, Gary, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for asking me.
Excellent. Let's talk a little bit about yourself. You were formerly educated at Emory-Riddle Aeronautical University. You graduated magna cum laude. You have really amassed multiple specialty training certifications throughout the years in financial education, including the sought-after Circle of Wealth. You've served our country for over 2 decades in the Army as a Black Hawk instructor. Share with me a little bit how helping your fellow working man in this industry got started for you.
Well, Gary, I had some tragic things happen to me. Like I said, I was a Black Hawk instructor pilot in the Army. I loved what I did. I loved serving my country. I had a passion for flying. And I had a successful mortgage and a real estate business when I got out and up until about 2008 when the mortgage crisis hit. But I had some tragic things happen to my family. My son became 100% disabled. Then we went down to live to Christmas for him in Little Rock, Arkansas, where he lived with his wife, Lynn, who was 39 at the time. And they had 2 little girls that were 7 and 4. But Todd had been disabled for 3 years and still not getting his disability. Well, we hired an attorney, finally got a disability in the summer of 2010. But January 5th, 2010, I'll never forget this date. Lynn called me up. She said, Alan, I've been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and they've given me 6 months to live. Well, of course, that devastated us, but there's a huge financial problem developed. There's no income coming into the family. And I was like 99% of people out there that thought life insurance was a death product. But it had not been for the terminal illness rider on her life insurance policy, which was in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, which she could access within 1 year of diagnosis. My son would be bankrupt and it's tax-free. And it took a huge financial strain off of me. And so I started looking into insurance and I started finding out these things about insurance products. It's been one thing after another. My daughter, after she gave birth to my 3rd grandson, she's an oncology nurse and she self-detected herself with breast cancer. And her husband didn't think she was going to live. He's a doctor. And now she's 10 years cancer-free. But she has Graves' disease and she has this disease called bulging eye syndrome. Has had to take 8 transfusions. And the first one cost was $30-some thousand, and the last one cost over $230-some thousand. And if it had not been for insurance, my family would be devastated. But what I want to do is I show people the strategies the wealthy and the financial institutions have been using against us for years. I show people how to become debt-free, to pay the least amount of taxes that they need to possibly do, because Gary, the only thing that tax codes are a limit on a debt or on a benefit. And we go up to those benefits, and I treat my business like a doctor. I ask question after question, and I expect those questions answered. Because if they're not answered, and I did some type of feasibility study or some financial plan, it would be malpractice on my part. I'm a certified financial fiduciary, which means I have not only a legal, but a moral obligation to look out for the best interests of my clients. But the thing is, like I said, I have a team of specialists, top CPAs, tax-specific attorneys, and other specialists in the fields to work with people and their advisors to give them the best possible outcome. And I've had many affluent clients tell me, Gary, that, well, my advisors, they advise me on everything, on my tax, my financial information. I said, I understand that. I'm not here to replace any of your advisors, but I want to help them and help you, the client, get the best possible scenario. And I said, I have one thing to say. You may have the greatest advisors in the world, but it's what they don't know that's going to end up costing you hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in undue taxes, fees, and lost opportunity costs. And they all agree with me.
Wow. I mean, with a personal story like that, obviously you have a passion that's near and dear to your heart, helping other folks out there. The Social Security Act, it was created in 1935. It was a new system of social insurance for the aged. It was financed through payroll taxes. Here we are 80 plus years later. Was this a sustainable model? And what are we kind of seeing?
Well, it would have been a sustainable model if we still had 42 or 44 workers for one individual. Now we have 3 workers for one individual, and 7 years we'll have 2. But the problem is when they started Social Security, life expectancy was 62, and you couldn't collect it until 65. And now life expectancy is 85 for a man, 87 for a woman. And if you're married at age 65, there's a 50% chance you'll live past 90 and a 50% chance the other spouse living past 95. But now we can collect it at 62. And I mean, it's supposed to go bankrupt by year 2023, and you'll not be able to get the amount of money that we put into it anywhere near it. So it's going to have to be changes to be made. And some of the changes to be made were, like right now, I believe it stops at $160,000 of income. You don't pay no more Social Security tax. Now, if they change the laws and it doesn't matter what income you make, that will take care of the problem. They can reduce benefits, but Gary, I think 50% of Americans have Social Security as their number one asset in retirement. That's very, very sad. People are living in poverty. But those things need to change.
As the population ages, there are more retirees. I mean, the program is projected to face a shortfall in funding. What does this mean for those that are nearing retirement? And can we take any steps to kind of help prepare for that?
Well, there's lots of steps you can take. And first, it takes always have a plan. If you don't have a plan, make one. If you have a plan, improve on it. You've got to have a plan for everything that you do. But as an example, taxes are going to go astronomically high by the year 2030. This is a Congressional Budget Office report back in October that if taxes are not increased by 66% overall, we're not even be able to afford the interest on the debt. The country will go bankrupt. So what do? We print more money, cause massive inflation. But that's what's happening. But what we can do is turn our 401k and our IRAs into Roth. Pay taxes now in the lowest tax environment we've been in 70 years. And then other things we can do, cash value life insurance. I don't care how close you are to retirement. I bought my last life insurance policy at 65. Now, understand, Gary, these cash value life insurance policies, I think, are probably the greatest funding vehicles out there because they not only do they grow tax deferred, they grow tax-free distribution. They do not affect taxation of Social Security or the means testing for Medicare Part B. And that's alone is should be in the thousands per year. You're protected from probate. You have long-term care options that are tax-free, as I said with my daughter-in-law. You're protected from lawsuits, liens, and judgments. The list goes on and on. I've got a white paper of 29 bullet points that show how cash value life insurance, whether it's whole life or index universal life, will outperform any 401k or stock portfolio because they just don't have the benefits.
Yeah, I mean, your team has over 4 decades of experience. You're helping doctors, medical professionals, business owners. Do most of your clients feel they pay too much in taxes, like everyone? And are they pleased and probably kind of surprised when you can save them by eliminating some unnecessary taxes?
Well, everybody feels like they're paying too much in taxes. But my favorite lines, especially when I talk to a doctor or a successful businessman, I'll ask them, what's your biggest expense? Well, my business, my college loans, whatever. No, I said, your biggest expense is taxes. They said, you're absolutely right. I said, what is your exit plan? They say, what do you mean? I said, what is your exit plan when you exit your business? Would you rather pay capital gains tax or would you rather get a tax deduction? Well, I want a tax deduction. Well, how are you going to do that, Alan? I said, it's not how, it's but who I know. See, I'm a specialist in certain fields, but I have other specialists that know how to do this. And I said, how would you like to get a tax deduction and have the government pay for your own tax-free retirement system? Because that's what we did with one of the doctors I work with.
I mean, you're a smart advisor. I mean, is timing important? Is there a window of opportunity to today where Americans can benefit if we simply know these strategies and act on them?
Well, the younger the better. Because as a smart advisor, what we do is we show people how to reduce or eliminate both debt and taxes and stop paying compound interest to the financial institutions. We have a debt-free for life program, and there's about 60 of us with Smart Advisor, and we're on a mission to get people out of debt. We've got, I think, $17 trillion in personal debt. 83 to 84% of all Americans are in debt. And I'm going to give you a perfect example, Gary. Let's say that you had $100,000 in your cash value of your life insurance policy, and you wanted to buy a new car for $50,000. And let's just say it's at 0% interest. You could go to the bank and get that loan 0% interest and pay it back over a 5-year period at $10,000 a year, correct?
Wow.
Well,
Wow.
at the end of that 5 years, you'll have the car paid for, but you'll have a car that's worth about $30,000. But you've spent that $50,000. That money is gone. That's going to compound to the bank year after year after year in some other form. But if you take that money from your cash value life insurance policy and borrow that $50,000 from that $100,000 and pay yourself back the $10,000 a year for 5 years, not only will you have your car paid for, worth maybe $30,000, but you have that $50,000 paid back to yourself that's going to compound for you and not the financial institutions. Not only that, Gary, since this is a whole life policy, you can do it both with indexed and a universal life, whole life. Since it's a non-direct recognition company, they have to pay you dividends on the original $100,000 cash value. Now think about that. And you have a death benefit that you can use for long-term care. You're leveraging your money 3 different ways.
I mean, you're definitely right. Timing is everything. My son just graduated last year. I sat down with him, told him now's the time you start putting a plan together. You're in a great position. One of the greatest assets you have right now is your age and time. So hopefully he listened a little there. I mean, these are not strategies that you teach of our parents or of yesterday. This is not conventional financial planning. This paradigm shift in people's thinking and beliefs, can it be kind of a challenge for clients to really maybe unlearn some of what they were taught in the past?
Well, it's the propaganda the Wall Street and media have done for years and years, a 60-40 stock split. They used to say that was a pretty safe diversification to last until age 90. Now it's got, I don't know, 15 to 20, 30% chance of failure. And that 4% distribution rate they used to say was safe, it's down to 2.8% now. But see, one of the things I do with 401ks and IRAs is I convert them to fixed and fixed indexed annuities. Now, there's 3 types of annuities. Variable annuities, which I have nothing to do with because they're tied to the market and the expenses are high. Gary, do you realize that a 1% fee over a 30-year period will reduce your income by 1/3? The average fee of 1/3. The average fee in a 401k is 2.88%. That's at Forbes magazine. Now, I want to teach people about this because think about the fees that are involved. If these smaller companies, a person's 401k may be eaten up by 50%. But I'll give you a perfect example with a fixed indexed annuity that I sponsor. You can have $1 million in a stock portfolio at a 4% distribution rate, correct? All right, that's $40,000 a year. You only need to have approximately $650,000 in this annuity to give you the same $40,000 a year, and that is guaranteed for life. And it can be guaranteed for both the spouse and the husband and wife for life. You can't do that with a stock portfolio.
I mean, that's interesting. I mean, in order for you to help your clients realize their full financial potential, you really you rely on a team approach. You collaborate with CPAs, tax-specific attorneys. Do your clients benefit from really multiple resources that you're able to provide?
Absolutely. Not everybody can know everything. I mean, we work as a team. I don't care if you make 50,000, 100,000, 10 million, $100 million. I have a team of people that work with everyone. But we have a mission with Smart Advisor to get people out of debt for one thing, and that way, when they're out of debt, they can finally understand and prepare themselves for a tax-free retirement. Gary, have you ever heard of effective interest cost?
No.
Well, the banks are crazy about this, but you got a mortgage for 2.75%, your APR. And I had a gentleman that was served in the Army with me. He wanted to do my tax-free retirement plan. And I said, how much debt do you have? Well, he's telling me a new car, new house, some other things. And I said, what's your interest rate on your mortgage? He said 2.75. So I asked him, what's your effective interest cost? He said, I have no idea what you're talking about. Well, I said, don't feel lonely. Nobody else does either. I said, I'm going to send you a report. I want you to fill out this form. And when we did a Zoom conference the next week, and I said, you've got $461,000 in debt. That is not your problem. Your problem over here is the effective interest cost on your mortgage is over 49%. I said, you've got 7 bills. You've got good credit, but your effective interest cost is over 46% on all these bills. So what that means is Out of every dollar that you pay out, 46% goes to compound interest for the financial institutions and not yourself. But what we did a plan for him, paid everything off for 14 years earlier. They give him $113,000 in the cash value life insurance policy, what's called an SDIC, a specially designed insurance contract for this particular scenario I'm talking about, and a death benefit of approximately $400,000. And nobody knows how to do it.
That definitely has to be eye-opening for people out there to see numbers like that on a paper like that. I mean, your practice is process-driven. It's not product-driven. That definitely differs from a lot of folks out there that are hearing different. I mean, let's be honest. Who does not hate taxes? And we should. But simply hating will not benefit us. How can my viewers out there take action? How does this begin with you? Is it with a consultation? Share with me what goes on.
It's exactly a consultation. In fact, I had a client today that lasts over an hour and 45 minutes. My consultations are free. What I want to do is I want to educate clients on the financial strategies the wealthy and the banking institutions have been used for years. You know, banks, you can go to FDIC.gov and you can bring up every major asset of every major bank, and banks have over $190 billion of cash value life insurance as their top tier one asset. It's more than twice as much as real estate. And I asked my clients, I said, if banks are supposed to have the greatest financial minds in the world, if they have cash value life insurance as one of their top tier one assets for their banks and corporations, don't you think you ought to have it as part of your portfolio?
I mean, you have legally recovered tens of thousands of dollars that most of your clients had probably no idea they were even losing. Retirement, lifestyle dollars, slipping right into the hands of the federal government, Wall Street, or even financial institutions. As a family man yourself, is it rewarding for you to help clients and their families in this way?
Oh, Gary, I'm so passionate about what I do. I'll be turning 70 May 18th, and I'm never going to retire. As long as I have a healthy mind, I'm never going to retire because I love helping people. It's made a huge difference in all my clients. It's made a huge difference in my own personal life. And like I said, I've got a passion, and I hope people can see. Well, I know when they talk to me, they know what the passion I have to help people out is.
That is excellent. I mean, definitely the information you provide for everyone, we're definitely honored to share it with our viewers out there. Viewers, take a look at the bottom of the screen. You're going to see his contact information is right there. You can also find him on LinkedIn, Facebook. He provides informative posts and hopefully will get you kind of rethinking your financial planning. His passion is educating the public, be it speaking at West Point or Harvard. He's been published in over 320 publications. He's been on TV on multiple mainstream media stations and now obviously on CNTV. It is time to stop hating taxes and actually do something about it. Get proactive advice, not reactive. Once again, that is with Strategic Wealth Strategies. This is Gary Atensa with CNTV, and if you don't know, now you know.